Good morning, this is Miss Penny from Johnny Cash Boyhood Home, and I'm going to give you a tour of the Cash House today. So let's come on up. One thing I wanted to point out to you, our poor little flowers now, but in the flower boxes, the girls that grew up here remembered them always being purple, so we keep the purple in the flower boxes. House number 266. There's the porch swing. Let's go see in the house. All right, so you come in. One of the first things you see is Mother Cash's piano. This was her piano. And her songbooks. I'm gonna get a close up here. These old songbooks. Then on top of the piano, we have some pictures, a lantern. Family picture. All right. Now up here, we have a quilt rack. Women would quilt back in the day, and they kept it up here on this rack so it would be out of the way and they could just pull it down when they needed work on it. You'll also see the one single light. And they didn't get that until years after they had lived in the home, and that is the only light that they had. There's the blue couch. This flooring right here, which is not a rug, it's not really laminate either. I don't know the exact name. I apologize for that, but it's original to the house, which is pretty cool. Now we're going to go around, look in the bedroom of Mr. and Mrs. Cash. I apologize, it's so dark. It is a cloudy day today. This is Mrs. Cash's purse and her Afghan. I want you to notice the bed. I'm going to get down here just a little bit. There's no box spring on that. There's just springs. And so there wasn't always the comforts that we have now. Come on over to the bathroom. And you see the nice tub. I love that tub. And you will see a sink, a mirror, but you notice there is something missing. Yeah, they had an outhouse. All right, next we're gonna go to the kids' room. Johnny, JR, and probably any of the other kids, they would fit in where they could. So we're gonna look on the dresser. I love this old camera. So neat. Some old books here. Let me get turned around. All right, a couple of things I want to point out to you is this picture back here over the bed. Johnny would make picture frames, and he would take pictures out of magazines, tear them out, and make pictures to put on his wall. So he loved wolves. So although this wolf picture is not his, the frame is one that he made. Here's a couple of his favorite books. And one of my favorite things here hanging on the wall, this is original to the house, to this room. This picture of a cross in the frame. And you know, Jack, his brother, the one that was killed when he was 15 with the saw, while working on an ag project, he was going to be a preacher. So in my mind, I think, oh, you know, well, they had the influences of the church with the music, but I think, you know, probably Jack really took pride in that picture of looking at the cross. And Johnny, he does have gospel albums as well. All right, we're kind of come around here. We got some pictures. Now, this old radio is one that it's identical to what would have been in this house. It's not the original one, but it's one that's identical to the time period. And Johnny talks about just sitting and listening to the music. He would sit here in this spot, and he would listen to music on that radio, and then he would listen to his mom play the piano as well. So those are some of the things that really got him started in music. Now, this newspaper is from July 19th, 1947. Now, over here, you're going to hear something start to play in a minute. And when you get to this mirror, when you walk in front of it, it plays the video and audio of when Johnny and June Carter came back to visit the house years later. Well, of course, I say it plays, but it's obviously not turning on now. So, sorry about that. Let's look at some of these products. Brushes, barrettes. Look at that. The long burning pipe and cigarette tobacco, Prince Albert. Let's look at the old hairpins. The face powder. Okay, moving on into the kitchen. Oh, here it goes. Let's go on into the kitchen. Love this old calendar. What is so cool about this is last year in 2020, the dates matched up to this calendar from 1936. These curtains, I love. They were made from flour sacks. So one of the big things back in the earlier years were flour sacks. Now we just get it in a bag and don't think anything about it. But back when times were really hard, there would be flour sacks such as this one. And you can see the material on it. Now it would be a big deal to pick out the flour sacks that had the same material. So you could make dresses, curtains, dish rags, aprons, and you wanted to have enough of the same material because if you started making curtains and ran out, you might not could find that same material again on the flour sack. So the folks who made the flour sacks back then really had a good business because it was a cheap, easy way for them to sell their flour, and then people could reuse the sacks for what they needed. So this is the old stove and a pressure cooker. Now let me show you the dining room. So this china here that I'm going to show you is the cash china. Isn't that pretty? Think how old that is. This that you see right here is the ice box. So if you'll notice this sign in the window, back when ice wasn't as common as it is today to get a hold of, families would order blocks of ice. So they would hang this sign in the window, and whatever number was on top, that's the pounds of ice that they would get. So you can see they would be ordering a 25-pound block of ice. That block would then be put into the ice box. Let's see if I was going to open this for you, but I can't get it to open. Sorry, but I bet it looked really cool inside. A picture of the Last Supper. Now we're going to step out back, and I'm going to show you, if you had to go to the restroom in the middle of the summer, hot, mosquitoes, or like when we had our snowstorm, you know, a week back, you would have to come out and go all the way over to that building. So we've got a smokehouse back here, where they would hang their meat and it would dry. We've got the outhouse, and then we've got the hen house. So back in the very back, that one, and forgive me for not walking out there, but it's very muddy. That's where the chickens would lay their eggs. And then you have your smokehouse right there, and then your outhouse. So you can see over here, there's some older farm equipment. Those are original pieces from that time period, before tractors and such. Get a picture of this. A washboard. Before washing machines were around, they had to wash it all by hand. Oof. I am so thankful for washers and dryers now, and indoor plumbing. Let me close up on this. This is where they would get their water. They would pump the handle, and the water would come out, and they would carry it in a bucket, take it in, warm it up for a bath, or warm it up to cook with, or to clean clothes. There's one more thing I want to show you, and it's outside of the house. So we're going to walk back through, go out on the porch. Didn't think of it when I first came in. This barrel is a rain catcher. It catches the water. It catches, so they could have that, and they would be using, you know, they could use the water, rainwater, for purposes, boil it to keep them from having to go get water from the well, from the pump. So look at this block. I'm gonna get over here. This block under the house, under the foundation, established 1935. That's the original block the house was on, one of them. I just think that's pretty awesome to think about, you know, how these things have dated back, you know, getting close to 100 years. Now this pathway that we have here, this wasn't originally in the house. We put that in for those who can't climb stairs and such, so they would be able to tour the house as well. So I hope you have enjoyed the tour, and hopefully one of these days you'll get to come and see it for yourself. So have a good day, and thank you for joining me.